Street Fighter League US is one of the most cutthroat forms of competition out there. Every competitor is world-class and has the potential to win a major tournament at any point in the Pro Tour. The league tends to shake out a bit differently each time, but there have been consistencies since the series started, like for example how Punk and Idom always find themselves in the top 3 if they're competing, Team Master always makes it to the playoffs, and Team UYU always takes their place at the bottom, which is ironic because those were the first 2 teams to have their sponsored costumes in Street Fighter V. But this year, something was different. Something happened to change UYU from the team who had been cursed to the subtle powerhouse of Street Fighter League Season 5. And I think I know what happened. Before we get into the video, I'm going to ask you to hit that subscribe button since it helps me out so much. These videos are fun to make, but they're also tons of work to put together. If you want to see more stuff like this consistently, be sure to subscribe to the channel real quick. And with that said, let's get back to the video. 2 weeks ago, UYU went up against CLG in their final regular season battle for Street Fighter. There was no doubt in anybody's mind that UYU had a chance against CLG, but they needed more than just a chance. In order to solidify their spot in the playoffs, UYU had to take CLG down without letting them score a single point. If CLG scored, Red Rooster had a chance to surpass them in points and take their final spot for the finals of the season. UYU had their work cut out for them, but they were determined to get it done. Going into the match, we have to consider the full history of Team UYU. I'll let Tasty Steve take it away for me.
Telling you right now, if you go back, you need to rewatch the VODs of every Street Fighter League to understand just how monumental this UYU Street Fighter League championship is. Every season has been a struggle for UYU to get up to this point. Multiple team members, UYU having this Oil King as a champion, even having Kami on the team at one point in time, and now struggling throughout the entire existence of SFL. Now your SFL Season 5 champion, DCQ 100% MVP, and now I'm just going to take it back over.
UYU's debut was back in Season 3 of Street Fighter League. The team was composed of JB, Kami, and Oil King. At the time, JB was a pretty well-known player, but the real glue that held the team together was Oil King. He is qualified for every single Street Fighter V Capcom Cup up to that point, and in 2021, made it to Grand Finals of Asia East No. 2 against Infiltration. His resume pretty much speaks for himself, so including him as SFL was a no-brainer, and yet somehow UYU finished that season with the worst record, introducing one of the players Oil King lost to in Asia East No. 1, and now, the next new member of Team UYU.
In this seat before, it was a very rocky place for them in Season 3, but I think with this player, NL, it could really spell the difference between getting into the playoffs and what they experienced into Season 3.
NL was actually a step up from Oil King. He went on to win Asia East and has qualified for Capcom Cups 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022 coming up this month. He's no joke. Surely he's what UYU needed to bounce back and up. Oh, okay. Well, the next player should need no introduction. His name is Cien, and he's made it to the top 3 of the first 3 Capcom Cups. He's placed first in multiple Street Fighter V majors around the world as well. He joined Team UYU in this current season, which was a great choice to help the team gain solid ground. His role in the team was more as a coach, but that's incredibly valuable to make a well-rounded team. But there's one more player to wrap up UYU as a complete unit.
Now, find a new rival. Go for it.
Enter the hero of today's story, UYU's very own Ding Chun Cho, more commonly known as DCQ. I'm not sure when his official debut was, but the first I saw of him was CPT 2021 China Top 8. The stream opened up with DCQ versus Xiaohai, who was a favorite to make it to at least losers finals. But before the match started, Xiaohai said this.
Easy cake, I will handle it because everything is under control. Xiaohai, you know who you are. You're here to deliver. Again, your own worst enemy can be yourself. And today, Xiaohai, you've got no demons. All right, Robin Saint said it best.
If you're wondering how that worked out for Xiaohai, it didn't end well. DCQ showed off just how dominant and clutch he could be in this bracket, and that he wasn't anyone to be messed around with. In SFL, he was taking names from the first time the camera was on him. DCQ's first match was on Week 4 against Punk the God. Punk as well as Team Panda have managed to make it to the playoff of every single SFL they've been a part of, while UYU hasn't managed to even make it to the lowest spot of the playoff. Most were sure that Panda would walk away with an easy victory, but no, it was anything but.
Oh my goodness, imagine starting out your Street Fighter League debut with a match like that. DCQ getting the victory over Punk the God, making a statement. How do you feel right now? Can you tell me about that match?
很轻松啊 ，easy cake. Easy cake.
It is an easy cake?
I think I don't need to translate.
From here on in, it was clear that DCQ was enough to shake something up in UYU. But was it enough? It's hard to say exactly what was plaguing UYU in seasons past, or if DCQ was the driving force in them making it so far in Season 5. There's a lot of factors to consider.
Allow me a moment to entertain you.
The first major change was the team format. It was no longer required for teams to beat every player on the opposite team. UYU struggled to close out a single match in Season 3, as 50% of their matches went 3-2. Season 4, they did a lot better, winning 4 matches and even taking one of those off of Vodafone, who went to get second in the league. Secondly, Team UYU had to deal with the character ban system. This system of banning a character from a team directly impacted NL really hard Season 4. NL is a player known to only play top tiers for whatever given season of Street Fighter V we're in. That year, it was easy to ban his Kami and force out his Akuma or Ryu. The secondaries weren't bad, but considering that he was the only Kami player that season, banning him made things easier for everyone going against him.
Oh my god, NL takes it over Meta RD. What a return to form, and it wasn't even with the Kami. Wow. Wow and wow. NL takes it over Bandits, and I'm gonna tell you right now.
Keeping all that in mind, he still managed to OCV Team Vodafone Giants and Bandits, solidifying him as the player with the most OCVs in SFL Season 4. Lastly, the points system. When certain matches are worth more than others, strategies around that pop up. It took UYU a bit of time to settle into the system, considering they might not have known about certain matchups. For example, NL versus Ajax Fidelity. This match was the first true blow-up in an anchor match of the season. It wasn't pretty, and probably hung over NL and the rest of his team for a while. This was a clear danger of playing Luke as the anchor character. You know for certain that every player has a plan against Luke, but you might not have a plan against whoever they send up.
What are you going to do about this? That's going to be Ajax, and you see the frustration from the side of NL all over his face. He says, damn.
In spite of all this, UYU didn't let things deter them. There's a clear turning point for UYU that happens in Week 7. Up until this point, they only had one win against Panda, and just the week before, they were shut up by Nasser Bandits in the first 40 bomb of the season. Week 7, CLG is their opponent, who is sitting at 3rd place over UYU, who is seated last. Things don't look too good at the beginning of the match, with CLG taking out Oil King and Cien to gain 20 points. Now it's up to DCQ to do what he does best. He takes down Just a Kid in a tight final round set, and then goes on to defeat Filipino Men in the bonus battle. The new point format saved UYU and gave them a huge push towards qualifying for the playoff. They then used this momentum to take their Week 9 match against Red Rooster and their Week 10 match against Panda Global. The momentum could only carry them so far, however, as teams Endemic and Nasser Bandits shut them down all over again. But it was just enough to get them where they needed to be. And now we have just enough of what we need to return to present day. Week 15 of SFL. UYU has the home advantage against CLG, a team they beat earlier in the season. They know exactly what matchups to expect and how to handle them. The only problem is that just winning the battle isn't enough. CLG is sitting at 3rd place with 190 points. Red Rooster is just under UYU, with each team having 165 and 160 points respectively. In order to guarantee a playoff spot, UYU has to beat CLG with a 40 bomb, or they could risk eliminations at the hand of Red Rooster. At this point, I personally assumed it was over for UYU, because they've seemingly been cursed of Street Fighter League in the past, and CLG had only been swept by the top 2 teams in the league at that point. However, UYU was determined to break the curse, and they did. They shattered CLG with another 40 bomb, bringing their total to 205 points, 10 over CLG, leaving them to hope that Red Rooster couldn't do the same to Panda, which would jeopardize their chance at the playoff. As expected, DCQ was the one that closed out the match, but I want to talk about his season a bit. In this season, DCQ was one of the few players next to Idom, Punk, and Ajax Fidelity that have twice as many points as their teammates, and he did it in at least 2 less anchor matches. Also, of the 4, he and Idom were the only 2 to crack 100 points in the regular season. DCQ's success in Street Fighter League can't be overstated. While we're at it, let's compare his numbers to Punk, the most successful player in Street Fighter League. Punk played 7 out of 10 anchor matches to gain 95 points against the rest of his team's total, which was 70, and Punk didn't sit out for a single week. DCQ played only 5 out of 10 anchor matches while sitting out 2 weeks, which was weeks 2 and 11. This means DCQ played at least 2 less sets than Punk and 3 less anchor matches than him, but finished the season with more points and a better win rate. In fact, he did so well that on Street Fighter League leaderboards, he's placed number 1 in terms of match win percentage. This season, both Angry Bird and DCQ dethroned Punk as the king of Street Fighter League. The leaderboards for SFL US are flawed, but they can point us to one more thing, another factor that may have led to UYU's success in 2022. Kami.
The betrayal of UYU. Can we kind of harp in on that a little bit?
I mean, it's not really like a betrayal.
It's not real, but
like I'm still UYU, but
To start, I just want to preface this by saying Kami is an absolutely phenomenal player, but there seems to be something holding his performance back when considering his results in tournaments versus his results in Street Fighter League. The Street Fighter League website ranks everyone who has competed in Street Fighter League by number of wins and lists their percentages. Since Kami has been around since Season 3, he should have been able to boost his rank pretty high just by winning matches, since that's all that matters on this leaderboard. But he's currently placed at rank number 45. This metric is not great for measuring anything aside from raw number of wins, but his win rate is interesting as well. 23%. Because of this number, I thought it would be possible to inflate your rank on the leaderboard and maintain a low win percentage, and that is somewhat true. Shine is a good example, as he's ranked number 18 with a 32% win rate, but that's still significantly higher than Kami. What I overall found was nobody's win count to win percentage ratio was worse than Kami's on the leaderboard up until him. So with all that out of the way, the first season where UYU makes the playoffs is also the first season that Punk doesn't make the playoffs. The biggest change between those seasons was Kami getting traded to Panda from UYU. It's obviously not a one-to-one causation, nor am I trying to say Kami is cursed or a bad player. He literally took Idom out of CPT NA East a few months ago. What I am saying is that hopefully the new team format stays consistent into the next year, and Team Panda figures out how to utilize their tools more effectively. It wasn't just Kami, but Nephew also had his worst season of Street Fighter League this year as well. Every player involved in Street Fighter League deserves their spot on that stage, but competition is becoming more and more fierce each season. Next season, players will be accustomed to the new format, and it will be in a completely new game that's Street Fighter 6. For now, UYU are the kings of SFL US, and they did not have an easy journey getting there. This story of redemption and pride hasn't reached its peak yet. Who knows how strong UYU will be at the end of the World Finals later this month. They stand a chance to take it all if they continue to work together the way they have over the last 16 weeks. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.